the week. Abyss Academy take on Outlaws. We're moving into Champ Select, and we're moving in hard.
And who's going to come out ahead? Because that's the biggest question. One person's going to come out 4-0. One person's going to come out 3-1. It's going to be really painful for the person who comes out 3-1 because it's going to be completely demoralizing going against a team that's top of the ladder along with you.
True.
So both of these two teams have got a lot to give up.
And Outlaws was someone at the start of the season we said, these guys are dark horses. No longer can you call them dark horses. These guys are front runners with Abyss Academy. At the moment, if you took me, put me in a chair, strapped me in, and said, gun, head, well, you don't have to say it, you just do it, and you say, who is winning OCS, who's going to promos, I'd say, I think it's Outlaws and Abyss Academy right now. And I don't think many people would disagree with me.
Yeah, well, you know, it's a great analogy because Outlaws, they have 2 guns, and they're putting it against pretty much everyone's heads right now.
Oh.
Yeah, they just want to win this game. They want to win this tournament, but coming into this one, come on, they better outdraft Abyss Academy because if we've known Abyss Academy to do anything, it's completely outdraft the enemy with these really left-of-center picks that work really well holistically that you never expect until the very last second. I'm looking at you, Cled.
Well, I mean, Paprise has played it before, and yeah, has done a really good job. Now, if we look at Abyss Academy, you've got Galio, you've got Caitlyn, and Lee Sin as the first ban phase, and Outlaws have left Zach open.
Oh,
with,
no.
Yeah, I know. With, of course, the Varus, Elise, and going to be the Fiora as well. Now, Fiora prioritized over Zach. Is Swaith comfortable, or is he going to first pick Kha'Zix again?
Now, I don't believe that Swaith is a Zach player. He does play a lot more of the aggressive run-at-you champions.
He's been playing Kha'Zix pretty much every week.
Kha'Zix and Olaf as well. See, both of those champions just completely run at you and try to run you down.
Oh.
He's comfortable.
No, pretty bad.
This is really hype coming into the signature matchup of the day. The fact that, of the week, I should say. The fact that Zach is coming in. The fact that they can rely on this champion to pull him over the line. Swaith, you better have your mechanics on point because it's not just you pick Zach and you win. You still need to execute.
But Red Side has been so much better off, I guess. I feel like when Zach has been banned away, now that Zach's been taken by Abyss Academy, the Outlaws suddenly go like, oh no, we got 2 better picks. But I don't feel like Renekton is a pick worthy of first rotation unless you want to count the Orianna for
Yeah,
Warus.
not necessarily. I mean, Na's been popping up in popularity as a direct counter towards Renekton, and his playstyle either draws a jungler permanently top lane, in which case it just works for your team because it means that you open up 2 free lanes that don't have jungle assistance, or you just win the lane, in which case Renekton doesn't work. But hey, that's bold. That is bold from Paprise because Kled doesn't necessarily go too well into Renekton. Renekton is a lane bully, and Kled early on, what does he like to do? He likes to joust in and out of Renekton. Both of those times that you do that, he's just going to be hitting you and wrecking you.
Well, it is going to be the Syndra locked in as well, negating that ban from Outlaws, and the Syndra going up against the Orianna. You know exactly how that matchup will take place. Outlaws have 1 more pick remaining, and whether they go for the jungle, whether they get something before it is banned away, is going to be crucial here, because Scam Diggity, yes, he does have a large jungle champion pool. He's lost his Lee Sin. He's going to lock in Mesa.
And that was a little bit too late. I mean, better late than never. Of course, it's in the first rotation, so it doesn't get banned away. All good for Outlaws. I think that this is really good for Scam Diggity because he's already played this and he plays it extremely well. We saw it last week how he's a minimalistic type of jungler in the sense that he doesn't put down a lot of wards. He doesn't deny vision from the enemy either. Pretty much the only thing that he really interacts with wards at all is clears the enemy control wards when he walks past them. Other than that, he uses tremor sensors very well. If you reference back to last week, he did it extremely well on this Rek'Sai. I believe he has the capacity to do it again.
It's going to be the Brom as we move into the second rotation. The support ban against Abyss Academy. Zaya's taken off the board. I would like to see a really good AD carry pick here. There's a double support ban by Outlaws, really targeting Kun, but Rakan is still available. And Rakan feels like it would work really well with the Abyss Academy lineup.
It would work incredibly well. I mean, with this whole matchup, if you send a Rek'Sai or a Renekton into the middle enemy team, dash onto them, use your ultimate, it's very hard to counterpick.
Draven.
Draven is, of course, open on this board, but I'm actually interested how there were a double ADC ban coming out from Abyss Academy, because what this means is that they actually rely on KO, and they respect the fact that KO can outpick Rain, which is not something that we really know coming into the fact that Rain's pretty much played every single ADC on the face of the planet.
And he played the Ashe last week. The Arrow was a really important engage. So KO is going to pick up that Kalista. Damn, we got ourselves a really nice composition on Abyss. Oh, that's not yours. You can't take that. I know Raz is watching. Or he might be. I don't know. If Raz is
Yeah, I
watching,
think he is.
tweet it, Rusty Law. And like we said, and I'm not often right, but when I am,
Oh, no.
slap me fun. Quick.
Mate, look at that.
That's good.
That is the yo-yo composition in the bottom lane. Because pretty much you never stop bouncing. Rakan sends you up, Rakan sends you down, he charms you, he gets pulled back, goes right back into you.
Zach brings you back up, you know.
It's the jumping castle composition, boys, and you even got a Kled to send everybody into the front line. Let's get hyped for this one.
All right, so Abyss Academy, we like how they've built their lineup, and we know how easy they can execute compositions like this. It's not that difficult to run, but it feels like Abyss Academy are so in tune, one of the best teams in the OCS, and we know that because their macro play is exceptional. Outlaws have had the same vibe about them, but they look like they have a composition that could sort of fall behind easily.
Yeah, it could. And when you take a look at the scaling of these two teams, especially in the bottom lane, it works in two separate ways. So Kalista is always going to be that champion who can do a lot of damage the later the game goes, and be placey, of course. Move in the correct position. Because of her martial plays. But on the other side, Ashe, while she falls down in damage, she's always got that timeless utility with her ultimate, so it really will be up to Rain to hit those ultimates. If there were ever a person who we had to rely on and to just say, you know, you are the one person who can make plays for us, and if you mess up your one skill shot, then we're all screwed, it would be Rain. I would trust him to hit the ultimate.
Outlaws have had such a good run, though, and I think that Rain has had a really good run. Starting week number 1 in mid, going into the 80 carry position. Yeah, he played Draven mid.
Doesn't really count, does it?
Still an 80 carry. The mid lane. Well, like, I mean, that's how they've been having fun with the OCS. And this is the one thing that Outlaws, the mob, they're such good friends, especially you've got Rain, Scam, and who's my last player?
Willaris.
Willaris. Willaris has just had a great split to start off with. And these three guys, like, they're really good friends. And they have played exceptional League of Legends in the past, and this split is no exception. Whereas Abyss Academy, they look like they're playing to win. And these guys are not going to take OCS as a final result. They want to get in that promotion tournament. And with the form that they've shown, Abyss Academy, let's say you put them against some of the bottom tier OPL teams. You look at, you know, potentially Tainted Minds, the other Abyss lineup, Regicide. Is there anyone else I'm missing? I mean, Tainted Minds are improving, let's be honest, in the OPL. I feel like Abyss Academy could definitely take it to them. It's a different style from Regicide last split. It's more of the, we are calculated, we are concise, and a lot of the bottom tier OPL teams might not be able to deal with that.
And it's also the hard and fast, right? Because you just catch your enemy by surprise by the time that they really have to react to it. Like, oh, maybe I should teleport down to help. You've pretty much already completed that dive, and you've just left them speechless. So that is really the playstyle that I like to exemplify coming into the OCS, because if your enemy can't react to it, then it works really well for your favor. But speaking of your enemy not being able to react to it, Willaris always hiding in a blind spot, trying to get his picks out. Could also happen this game.
He got Orianna, though.
He did.
Let's see if it was a fluke. Let's see if it was just Willaris playing a great game, or if he's truly one kind of Orianna god. 4-man Shockwave, my headset's flying off. 5-man Shockwave, I'm running out the door, calling mum, and I'm going to tell her. Pants are on fire. That's absolutely it. We are about to jump into our last game of the night, ladies and gentlemen. So this time, hashtags. I want them thrown in at Preacher Cast. Is it a cast?
Yes.
Thank you very much. You're going to go hashtag...
I'm going to get spammed.
Hashtag ABA win. Ooh, let's do that. Hashtag Abyss Academy win. You can just make it long. Who cares? Doesn't matter. Hashtag OLW win. Whether it's in the chat or at PreacherCast Twitter. The main thing to remember here is that the winner of this will still be 4-0. Will be 0, right?
And
no
it's going
losses.
to break away from the rest of the pack.
Exactly
so we'll know exactly where they stand, and it will really solidify the rest of the entire tier list from that point onwards. And it's not just for the standings at this current point as a snapshot, it also goes towards the rest of the tournament, which we have a few weeks left of course 3 after this today is concluded. It means the rest of the teams have to especially fear coming up towards the 4-0 team.
And it also means that the team that wins this game could potentially be the first team we see going into that semi-finals. It could be the team that we see as being the front runners and potentially just being the team that puts themselves in the promotion tournament. And that's what you want to look for here. The team that will represent the OCS going up into that promotion tournament. We're about to find out as we're about to jump onto the Summoner's Rift as well. Preacher, if you look at the composition run by Outlaws, it seems like it's their standard composition. It seems like something they've run so many times before, so there is comfort in it.
Yeah, there's a lot of comfort in it, and when you take a look at the way that they have to execute it, especially going into the mid to late game, I feel very comfortable for them, but then again, I also feel very scared for them because in isolation, their team comp is very good. It catches people out.
Yep.
If you want a team fight, especially in narrow corridors where the ball of Orianna can catch people out with the multi-man shockwave, then it works very well in their favor. But on the other hand, we were talking about the yo-yo composition, you know, the bouncing castle.
The yo-yo composition.
The bouncing castle
Yeah.
composition that really makes sure that your feet never touch the ground until you die. That's something to be feared as well because we haven't quite seen it in the OCS. But in theory, we know how it works.
We're going to see if the Zac was a mistake and if Swaith is going to be a monster and if Frey is going to follow suit as we do jump into our last game of the night, ladies and gentlemen. Abyss Academy taking on Outlaws for first place.
This is going to be hot. So please, this is the one exception that I will make. You can spam my Twitter. It's fine.
Just once.
Tell me who you
No,
think.
don't. Don't spam his Twitter. He'll get angry later. Trust me. Patch 7.13, of course, in this game number 4.
This is actually really strange. First thing, right off the bat, both of these two mid laners, they've opted to take heal. Instead of exhaust, instead of cleanse, they went for heal. So on the side of Willaris, it's a little bit questionable. I would have liked to see barrier, but yeah, heal is fine. But on the other side, Frey, that's a huge no-no. Because if Scam Diggity comes, if Flick comes, or if you get hit by the arrow coming out from Rain, then you're pretty much just sentenced to death. Of course, Frey is known to be a very good player when it comes to positioning well. But if he's not, and if he gets caught out by that 1cc, it's always a what-if factor, then that heal's not going to be helping him.
Well, so questionable summoners, and you will know as soon as we're into that early part of the laning phase whether that summoner was a waste or not. Orianna versus the Syndra. We know that Syndra will be comfortable in this lane and potentially find that early kill pressure with Swaith on Zac. Both of these Raptor starts are going to be spotted out with the help of both mid laners, but Willaris, he's not even going to help Scam Diggity.
Yeah, that's odd. I don't know what Willaris is trying to do.
I think he was trying to go and poke his head into the Raptor start.
I mean, he can't steal any of the Raptors by any long shot without going through Frey. He can't leash his own Raptor camp either. I believe he started Shield first, just for the extended trading of the Syndra.
Nope. Started command attack.
So, that's a real baffler. Anyway, you spin it. Overall, it's not going to be sending these two junglers too far behind. I mean, he still managed to get a leash from Flick, so Scam Diggity will be jungling at the same speed as usual.
Yep.
And it all goes towards normal.
But Willaris definitely pushing this lane in to start off with, and a lane we are going to have to keep our eyes on because we looked at the stats and how high those KDAs and GPMs are in the OCS split number 2.
Talk statistics to me.
Oh, I know you love it.
I love numbers. Especially when they exemplify how these matchups go.
Kled doesn't feel like it goes well, however, into Renekton.
No. And as soon as Renekton hits level 3, we will see the full force of this Renekton bear down onto the Kled. But until then, he's just going to be throwing out his bear trap on a rope.
Yeah.
And try to get as much poke down as he can and just be annoying onto Flick. But it's never going to be a substantial amount of health because at the lower levels, Flick can just run straight into the middle of the wave and heal it straight back with Cultimic.
Waiting for Swaith's first jungle pass to really come to its end. And look for the gank potential. Scam Diggity is up in the top side, but it looks like just a Scuttle Crab for now. The Lick will miss down in the bottom lane. This is going to be probably the best game, potentially one of the best games of the split. You know that both of these teams are fighting for that flawless OCS split, just like Regicide had last time. Whether Abyss can do it, the team that we're kind of expecting to come out on top. Outlaws aren't too far behind, however, and there's a reason they're 3-0.
But they were clear-cut favorites coming in, simply because of the fact that they've been so dominating and also because of the fact that Outlaws didn't quite have their roster down packed. Now that they do, I honestly could not split the hair between these two teams in terms of which one should come out ahead.
Okay.
I think that this will be a huge indication, and I'm not necessarily going to use this after the fact, hey, this team won, they're the better one. It is just going to be a huge indication of when these players go into their correct roles, who can execute it better.
Rain missing a bit of CS there. That's big to note, as KO has been missing a little bit as well. This wave will crash in, and he's going to pick it up. Oh, look at that. Okay. Okay, cool. All right. Still pretty neutral. You've got to look at Abyss Academy's lineup, and you've got to see that there is really no flaw in any of the people playing. And I've said this for 3 weeks, and I'm going to say it for the rest of the split. All of these laners are solid. Where can you abuse on Outlaws, though? Flick, well, he was in Corvid A last split. He didn't have the greatest split. He was like a Nautilus Not a one trick, but he was still a Nautilus.
Yeah, they get caught out.
Okay. How much can Zach do? Oh, see you later.
Takes a lot of damage.
Yep.
I mean, that is not insubstantial. That was 2/3 of his HP bar. So Swathe, still going a bit aggressive. Not too sure this is where he wants to be.
He's going to get unburrowed upon knocked airborne. Smites for their health is going to make them kiss together. The smite will help Scam Diggity. The tunnel is not open. He's been collapsed on. Gets knocked to the heavens. Flashes away. Looking for first blood. It's Abyss who secure it.
And all of a sudden, 3 people collapse on the side of Abyss. They pick Scam out. That was a good bait from Swathe. Not too sure what Scam was doing going back onto Swathe. Yeah, you took him down 2/3 of his HP, and you also spotted him out with the Scryer's Gloom. But he's a Zac. He has his passive. Even if you were to take him down, how are you going to deal with the Bloblets? They're still going to be rotating onto you. It just so happened the rotations were faster, and Scam was caught a little bit too aggressive.
A big mistake by the jungler from Outlaws. Will cost that first blood bonus. Will also cost Swaith's pressure, which was really severely lacking after taking all of his health. Abyss Academy looked good at the start. It is a small gold lead, but it is sufficient for now.
It's not only that, but Scam Diggity, while he did die, he managed to pick up a few things that help him with his jungle. He's going to be delayed massively from his Tiamat power spike, in which case he can really clear the jungle fast in comparison to Swathe. And that might be the tipping factor, because usually Rek'Sai's, they farm up until they get 1200, they go back, they get their Tiamat, and they just start power farming way over their opponents. Now Swathe has a huge window.
But you've just given first blood over to Frey.
Yeah.
He does not have flash. You have a Rek'Sai jungle, who also does not have flash. However, you get the Unburrow. Yes, he does have unleashed power, but Orianna also has ultimate. This could be a window for Outlaws if they can abuse it right. You can see Frey is pushed up for now. Scam is near mid.
Scam has enough burst, partner with Willaris, to potentially get it. He needs to get his 6 first. If he gets his 6, then it's going to be quite simple to execute onto Frey. You put your ball onto him, he ults Frey, and then you ult as Willaris, and then you can potentially pick the kill. But it's a whole lot of moving parts as opposed to Frey. Just press Q and then press R. So they need to be very careful when executing.
And I believe also Willaris lost his blue in that small first blood trade. Frey was the one to pick it up, so it's even more punishing as the engage comes through bottom. Tongue, lick, spit. That's K-pop, drop top. As Outlaws will save their 80 carry, but Rain gonna be scared of this Kalista Rakan combo. How many spirits are there? Like
you get 1 every 90 seconds.
Okay, that's a lot of spirits.
Yeah. It's slow, but you get a whole lot of vision.
Willaris falling behind a little bit after this wave will recuperate some of those losses. But I'm guessing the next back, the first back for Frey, is going to be super duper boo. I don't know what that word is.
Not too sure you were going for.
Let's try big.
I mean, he has 73 CS.
But first blood.
First blood as well. That all in all, that's massive. I mean, 74 CS coming in at about the 8-minute mark. First blood means you miss a wave. It's pretty good. It means that he hasn't been missing too much of this CS. He's opted to stay in lane because he's been topped up by blue buff. As soon as he goes back, which I suspect shall be the 90 CS mark, he should be able to pick up not only a lost chapter, but also...
Oh no, Scam's been caught out, doesn't get smashed against the ground. The Unburrow will, I guess, save him for now. Swathe rotates back out of the enemy jungle. And still, that early pressure, that one kill, is making so much work for Abyss. Yeah,
talk about the flow-on effects from that early first blood. The fact that Scam Diggity died means that Swathe is now comfortable to contest him in his own jungle, and Swathe knows that that is the correct thing to do at the current moment, because if you're going to be trying to go for a farm until 6 war with Rek'Sai, you're always going to lose. Even though there's no Tiamat, it still means that Rek'Sai is going to be farming up faster, so what do? You naturally go and you pressure Scam as much as you can. He's coming in.
Essentially setting up the win condition of Outlaws here as they rotate down bottom. Great Fate's call from KO. Will keep Kuden alive.
It's just an ult for ult trade. Actually, it's 2 ultimates coming out from Outlaws. It's not going to punish Rain too much because there shouldn't be a dive coming out from Abyss within the next few minutes, but that ability wasted means that the huge pick potential isn't going to happen, and Willaris better watch out.
Elastic slingshot, but does not choose to use it in the end. Swathe will just go back into lane and shows himself to Outlaws. Flick is stealing away blue. This is cool.
It's very cool. He's using his early game Renekton advantage. If Swathe comes in...
Oh,
he knows.
No, too late. Flick, he picks it up, and Paprise is still up in the top lane. Sacrifice blue for a turret of minions, which is just getting crashed against.
Yeah, but when you have a 10 CS a 10 CS advantage, you have the freedom to do that. Picking up 100 gold on the blue as well just means that you net haven't missed out on too much. And it also means that Paprise has to push up towards you, which is somewhere that Kled does not want to be into an early game Renekton. So it's extremely smart coming out from Flick, using his windows perfectly, and also denying Paprise the freedom.
Okay, well, Willaris definitely needed that mana. Scam Diggity actually giving blue over to Willaris, and Flick taking away Swaith's blue. It's small little windows like this that Outlaws have abused in the past. They continue to do so again.
And you add all of these small things up, they make a biddle. Take a look at the gold disadvantage.
Yes, they do. Damn straight.
Pretty much nothing.
And what is a biddle, Jimmy?
It's less than a bit. So we're at 10 minutes into the game. They played extremely reserved. They haven't been making plays that would put them into a negative position. I think that's a smart thing to do, because once you go a little bit too aggressive, you see the enemy team disengage you. Both of these two teams have a whole lot of disengage in total.
Yep.
So it's just very smart that neither of them have gone particularly aggressive without good reason.
Everyone playing it very safe in this early portion of the game, but I expect to see some awesome late-game team fights between these top 2 tier teams, especially with the compositions that they have drafted. All in says Abyss, all in says Outlaws. Who finds the first engage? Abyss will be spotted out doing this dragon by that ward on the edge, but Mountain Drake will go down with the double smite, including that rend. First Mountain Drake. There's going to be a second one. Oh, what a great dragon set for the game.
Yeah, it's just going to accelerate the late game right into the mid game. It means that these two teams can start taking it towards each other turrets. Right now, though, Scam Diggity wants to push the envelope and get the lead that Flick so desperately deserves up on the top side. Nope, he's gone mid.
Found the knock-up. Scam Diggity going to help flash away.
Oh, no.
Oh, he flashes Scatter the Weak, uses the ultimate. Scam Diggity still chasing on forward. Charge, says Kled, but Paprise a little bit too late.
Yeah. Just way too late to the entire situation. While it does give you a lot of movement speed, doesn't matter if they're just disengaging on the other side.
Flashing away from that shockwave means that Frey has no summoners available. Willaris used his as well, and he just backs away. I believe Willaris just used it because Slingshot by Swaith in the mid lane means that it will be a trade of summoners.
Yeah, he needs to be extremely defensive at this point, though.
But Frey has no mana, so Frey has to back away.
That's a symptom of losing away your blue buff. He happened to take it away the first time round. Now the shoe's on the other foot. How does it feel, Syndra? No mana. A whole lot of problems, apparently. Means that you got to go back more frequently. Yep. He has got a Morello's, though, which does help him out massively in terms of the mana regen. But at this point onwards, he needs to be focusing towards damage, because going into the mid game, we've known Frey to be a very good mechanical player who calculates all of these decisions. If he gets enough AP to just outright 100-0 assassinate Rain after he comes out of K-pop,
yep,
then it should be a really good win condition that Abyss want to play towards.
Bot lane still farming away. It has been Farmville in this game. 13 minutes in, and we're farming by the clock on pretty much all of these solo lanes. You can see that there's still a small advantage bot by 10 CS, Renekton 10 CS up top. And that's what really just equalizes it. The gold is neck and neck at 13 minutes. It is not a slow game in the pace, in the sense that what we saw a couple of games ago, where teams just didn't know how to push that advantage. It is a slow game because both of these teams are calculating exactly what they need to do right now.
And a huge part of that is calculating. The rest is respect. Here we go. They meet, though.
Okay, maybe the
Look at that respect.
Paprise, yeah, misses Bear Trap on a rope. They just back away. Flick is not going to find the engage either, but he rotates around mid. He's going to drop a ward. We'll spot out Swaith nearby, so help Willaris. There we go. Yum. 30 gold.
Very good from the bottom lane of Abyss. They've rotated to the top side, which means that for the next 1 minute or so, they've completely diffused the situation of Flick getting the turret. As soon as he chunks it down far enough, what do? They say lane swap. Come on, let's reset. If you want to get that advantage, you need to do it all the way again on the bottom side. And they stop the natural turret taking potential of Renekton early.
Swaith has Slingshot, chooses not to use it because he cannot see that far into the future. Like you said, Abyss's bottom lane are now up in the top side, and Flick just walked. I thought he was walking down bottom. Now he's walking mid. He walks right on in. Great chomp. Devour from Tamkenchi goes halfway there. Teleport being channeled a little bit late on Abyss's side because Flick is already here.
Flick.
The side from Abyss Academy are getting torn up by Flick. 3 members chopped out by the crocodile. Abyss Academy bringing back in with Bear Trap on a rope. Outlaws, do they follow this fight up? Well, Abyss are feeling a little bit scared. KO's low. Kuden's low. Abyss disengage.
Holy respect coming out of both of these teams. I mean, all in all, Outlaws try to push the envelope, but Frey might have been caught out. Scam might have been caught out in response, though.
Bear Trap on a rope. Scam Diggity might look for the engage, but respect Skull again. That word respect being repeated over and over. Outlaws might find first turret blood, but great wave clear means that Outlaws, they still do find it, but it's on the top side.
Yeah, Rain's pushing his 1-item power spike on the Ashe, as well as the zoning potential that just comes out from being Ashe, having an enchanted crystal.
Two-man Shockwave looking for the knocker. Kaboom into the air. Willaris finds one. Can you chew with your mouth closed, please? Thank you, K-Pop. He brings him back up. And the second grapple is not going to find its mark. Kuden jumps in front of his mark. Flick is there, looking for the slice and dice, and bam, they're gone. Outlaws, second turret and a kill. They've got a 3k gold lead.
So on the surface of it, it was just all in all a great trade from Outlaws. But when you dig a little bit deeper, it just tells you that their communication is tightened up. Flick now diving past the turret that was being taken by the rest of his team, zoning everybody else off, so that Outlaws do have a very safe passage in order to do so. Means that the communication is now up and up for this team, and Abyss have got to be scared.
It's great to see from Outlaws, though. Let's be honest, you know, they are definitely the underdogs in terms of favorites. Abyss Academy have so much support. Their fan base is unrelenting. They've got a team in the OPL, and Outlaws, they've been with us for 2 splits now. This is a team that we have not expected to be up here. We say it over and over. It has to be repeated. This early game has just taken a massive swing. 16 minutes in. I got to say the Tahm Kench pick. Let's start with that. This has saved Rain 3 times now. It has made so many big plays. And Outlaws, the priority of the Tahm Kench over something like the Rakan. Position defensive play rather than aggressive.
Yeah, and it serves more or less the same purpose that a Zyra would have, except you also get a front line. So what you get is you get the safety for the Ashe who can't move for herself, and then you also get a tank who can just walk into the middle of the enemy team and force them off a whole lot of situations. So this is extremely smart coming out from the whole team composition, and not only that, but respecting the fact that once Ashe gets her Blade of the Ruined King, you're pretty much ready to push as far as you possibly can. Gets that turret top, gets a turret mid, gets a dive as well. They're doing extremely well for themselves so far.
And Outlaws now just securing vision in the top side. Enchanted Crystal Arrow. It's come on through. It misses its target with Swathe. Here we go. The Abyssal Voyage forces the flash out of Frey. Licky Tongue sends it out. Flick there. They've bursted Zac down. And Flubber will hit the dirt back into Gelatin with Willaris getting the kill.
And once again, that is just Outlaws moving as a 5-man unit. This is extremely scary, not only for Abyss, but for every other team coming into the OCS. Because if you can see me right now, I'm quaking in my boots, and they should be as well. Outlaws have been known as these individual mechanical players who could just play so well on an individual level, but now they've got this communication. What's to stop them?
And of course, we will have another pause, unfortunately, as we run into a couple of issues. But that Mountain Drake goes over to Outlaws, so that is a Mountain Drake apiece. Outlaws have a 3.5k gold lead, almost 4,000 created at this early stage of the game. We've had such a slow, methodical 13, 14 minutes, but then we just find one fight. And Outlaws, they snap it up.
Yep, they just open the whole map for themselves, and it is in no small part due to Willaris with the 2-man Shockwave under turret. You might just say, 2-man? What's so impressive about that? There were only 2 people under that turret, so they managed to get those 2 picks, they managed to get the turret as well, and they just forced so many situations off of this one. While the kills don't quite come through for them, it just means that the map advantage they get from breaking open the mid outer turret without the Rift Herald's help either, they can just rotate anywhere they want.
And it could be a problem leaving Willaris' Orianna open here. In the early stages of the game, we've just seen how pretty much stock take it is. Frey has had a fantastic split so far. We know in Abyss last split, in the OPL, he had a great split as well. But in the OCS, he is outclassing a lot of other mid laners, as you would expect. But Willaris, he's been in this circuit for a while now. He's like Badoink, he's got the experience under his belt, and Willaris has just been this player who is so logically smart. I mean, how else could you be smart? Logically, methodically, whatever. He's a smart guy, okay? Not that Frey isn't, but to go up against a mid laner who calculates so well and realizes that, okay, my team's coming in, this is when I need to execute now, and does it perfectly, could be a bit too much for Frey to handle.
Yeah, and that's actually a really good way to put it, because we've talked to Willaris before, it's no secret, and when we have, you always hear Willaris trying to practice these strategies that he's seen from other professional players, trying to mimic the level 1 cheese that comes out of Cassiopeia, trying to practice the TF infinite freeze at his own turrets. He's always this player who's going to try to outsmart the enemy team, and yeah, he might not be known as the most mechanical player, but if he takes all of these chances, if he guesses, you know what, without this ward over there, the chances of an enemy being there solo is about 80%. I could probably take this kill. That's something to be feared when he's playing the numbers, not with his heart.
Not with his heart. I'm sure he plays with his heart anyway.
But you know what I mean. He plays more with his brain.
He does, and that's a good thing. League of Legends should be played with your brain, but you saw the Mountain Drake was recently just picked up by Outlaws as we come back from our little pause. And leading with that 3k gold lead is a really good start for Outlaws here in the early game. Mountain Drake on a composition that is going to be efficient in their sieging. I mean, it's not going to be the greatest siege, but it's going to be efficient.
And it's really dangerous for both of these two teams because it's one mountain apiece. So if any of them lose a fight, even if it's just one member, then they're going to pretty much lose a turret come this mid-game. And that's scary for both of these two teams because turrets are the most indefensible structures when it comes to these two team comps. They want to fight each other. They want to dive into each other. They want to just 5v5. And turrets are always the collateral they come after.
Such a better class of game, though. You can just see it. With the CS, look, I mean, 193 CS at 18, almost 19 minutes. These guys in the mid lane are above the clock right now. And it's so easy to see why they are potentially the two best mid laners in the OCS this split. Flick is ahead. That's a Renekton. Swathe has been caught out here. Licky Tongue has just joined on in. The dissonance to speed him up, and Swathe has to back the heck off with Scam and a level advantage and Baron spawning in 50 seconds.
Yeah, can we have a chat about that? Because that's not the first time that Swathe has been caught out in a precarious situation like this. The very first one, his team was there to help. They managed to pick up the first blood on the Scam Diggity, and then 2 more times after that, he's caught out by himself. Fortunate enough, that time he didn't die, but the time before he did. So Swathe really needs to be careful in terms of his windows for this Zac. And as far as his presence on the map is gone, not too much.
How long have they got for this Preacher? Because Baron spawns in 20 seconds.
As soon as you start it up, it extends the time to 1955.
Okay, now the engage comes through. Anyway, let's bounce as Zac brings them back into the Rift Herald. He's helping out. Swathe is bursted down again. The Zelda Vision not going to be available. Outlaws are winning this fight. Paprise is coming with a charge, but no one is affected by it. Willaris lives, even after Scatter the Weak. The Unleashed Power already used. Flick doesn't go over the wall. Abyss Academy only lose 1, and it's the jungler.
Yeah, it's going to be 0 for 1, but they do lose out on the Herald. So all in all, while Abyss Academy didn't come out favorites from that last fight, they managed to defuse the situation of getting a Rift Herald, which is good for them because the outer mid turret has been broken. If they get a Herald onto Outlaws, they would have broken the inner mid. And then all sorts of devils would have been unleashed from Pandora's box that would have been open from that point onwards. So disabling it by giving away Swaith's life, it's like the lesser of two evils, how you say, well, we're going to lose either way, but this one we lose a little bit less.
Flick is always there beforehand, though.
He is.
Flick is rotating so much quicker than Paprise. The champion who has an ultimate that literally says charge.
Yeah.
With like 1,000 A's in it.
And also, Paprise hasn't been using it to its max efficiency. He's been flanking with those ultimates.
Without the team.
Yeah, so first of all, his team doesn't necessarily go. Second of all, he's too late to the entire situation, regardless of which situation that may be. So he's always in there when Swathe has usually fallen down in the entire composition. And he's not with the rest of the team. So yeah, you get a massive shield when you do charge, the further away it is. But it doesn't even matter when the enemy can just focus you while the rest of your team is disengaging because you're not frontlining for them.
Feels like there's very similar win conditions though, and we stated earlier in the game. I mean, the engage potential from Outlaws is not as easy as Abyss Academy. I mean, they 2 of their carries are free in the fight. Feels like they win it. Kuden now going to get knocked out, actually goes straight into KO. There's a heroic entrance, the Shockwave there, and Enchanted Crystal Arrow will land. The Shockwave misses, however, and Willaris, Dissonance, destroys him. As Tom Kench was there getting Marbelle once again. 3-0-1 on the Orianna, and Abyss Academy keep getting caught out.
I'm curious as to see how Willaris has actually scaled his abilities, because
Flubber.
I know that he has been a huge advocate of maxing Dissonance first. Maybe he's maxing it second. He is, of course, level 13, so either of the two abilities can be at maximum rank. But yeah, Dissonance's burst is
well, he's got them both maxed right
Yep.
now. I'm going to talk to him about that later, because I used to max Dissonance. Don't want to set a trendsetter, but I am a trendsetter anyway. Flick will get this turret.
Such a hipster.
Yeah, I know. Dissonance can be maxed first, but the command attack...
It gives you more burst. It gives you more damage, but command
Not
attack
as much
gives you more...
versatility, yeah.
Command attack gives you a whole lot of zone potential.
However, the most important thing there is Flick is 40 CS up, sorry. He just got a turret for Outlaws. Outlaws are now 5,000 gold in the lead. This is so unexpected. Abyss Academy have just pretty much lost out their early game. Looking for Swaith to get a really good let's bounce. Paprise engage as well.
And, of course, the gold advantages go over to the top side of the map for Outlaws. Huge lead in top lane. Jungle and mid following to boot as well. Take a look at their item sets that they have now got completed for them. We're going into the mid game. We're going to the 2-item power spikes. Who spikes on 2 items? Oh, I don't know. Does Renekton? Does Rek'Sai? Yeah, they both do. And they both do excellently. So going in to the 23-minute mark, if they decide to fight after this, Titanic Hydra should be very close to completion for Flick. Scam Diggity should be getting his item as well. Yeah, and that's just going to be really hard for Abyss to play around, because they haven't quite scaled there as well. The only person who can really match him in terms of the current situation and the scaling is Frey on Syndrome.
Frey is still 1-1 and 0, 2 items. But Willaris has about... He's pretty much got a whole item almost completed over him. He's gone for the Mercury Treads. Normally you see the Sork shoes because an Orianna is so good at playing back.
K-pop?
Yeah, that was K-pop, sorry. He's going to get Let's Bounce back. Yeah, he's dead. Let's just call that one a miss flash.
Yep.
Let's do that.
Just popping off.
I think what K-pop was trying to do is maybe if that brush wasn't watered and they weren't in there, flash away. They're like, oh, I thought he went over the wall. But I flash back in, then he uses the Abyssal Voyage. I don't know. I'm just trying to pop top.
Yeah, I mean, you tried your hardest, but I pretty much can't reason that either. Unfortunately, K-pop does fall in the entire situation, so he gives up a little bit of momentum that his team has slowly been building over the ages.
Not enough yet, though.
Yeah, it's not going to be too much, but...
Oh my god, triple Mountain Drake game. Outlaws are going to secure this one, unless...
Curious as to see which one it goes towards. So, cameraman, please stay.
All right, so... Mountain Drake, next one is Cloud Double Mountain for Outlaws. That's denying it from Abyss Academy, who, if they get one good pick, could have a terrible siege.
But how do you get the pick? Like who's the person who's going to pick?
Jenna Cristaro forces the flash out of Swaith. With the rest of Outlaws already up in this top lane, now being very precarious about where they position. They have the wave clear, but can they deal with Orianna? The answer is no.
And the way that picks get diffused by Outlaws is one simple answer, and that is K-pop. He pretty much just swallows whoever is going to get picked on, and all of a sudden, it's just not a great situation. So Frey,
Swaith jumps on in, has no one to
repel. There we go, the Ricard.
Shockwave miss, brings it back in. 2-man scatter the weak. Outlaws have to flash away. Willaris now doesn't have that Shockwave, but Dissonance does so much damage. Let's bounce. 3 members brought on back. Airborne, the knock-up, the wombo combo, shut down. Abyss Academy starting to win this fight. A double kill. Flick has to run for the hills, but it's too late with Abyss Academy picking up 3 kills, and with that, momentum shifts.
And the whole trigger point for that decision was seeing Rain in the mid lane. Sure, he took down a turret for himself, but that means that your ADC, somebody who has a lot of the resources,
is there. He's still going in. He's trying to 1v2. Kuden has to be careful, knocks him up. Kuden goes back on in, a couple of shields. He's ulted and he's out.
Woo! 1.85 AD scaling, baby! But the Baron is started up for Abyss Academy.
And Rain has just gone mid. He's been interrupted by Glenn. Scam is still there. Yeah, Swaith has just smited.
He needed it for the health, but now he won't have it.
Scam knows.
There is the Rend, of course, from Kalista.
But Scam knows what's going to be better, Rend or Smite. We're about to find out. In goes Scam Diggity. Doesn't get it. Rend is there, and he goes down. Close call, but they will pick up Baron.
Yeah, not too sure what Scam was trying to do there.
You pushing Rain.
You should never be able to outsmite a Rend at this point on a Kalista. Once you get 22 stacks, I believe, in a Baron, it just simply out damages even a level 18. And this is the replay that we really needed to watch out for, because take a look on the minimap. Rain is in the mid lane. They just pull the trigger, and yeah, it's not pretty, but it gets the job done. The teleport is way too late coming out from Flick as well, so not a lot of impact from the early game Renekton.
Wombo combo was what Abyss Academy really achieved there. And getting those 3 kills, it did put them back on the board, but there's still a gold disadvantage. Baron means that it's only 3,000 now as they start pushing down turrets. Rain went across the map and split push. This 80 carry Ashe, who was in a side lane, kind of recovers a bit of that gold deficit, but now Abyss Academy, they're back within reach. It's only 3,000.
Wait a minute!
Misses the arrow. Tongue Lash will as well, as another turret goes down, and Kuden's there just to make sure no one dies. So Abyss Academy, 2,000 gold now. That's all it takes.
Yeah, and check the gold. Outlaws is pretty much just there. They've already negated the Baron, and oh, here we go.
Scam doesn't get scattered the weak, doesn't get knocked up either. Kuden was looking for the engage. You know that the quickness is back available. Abyss Academy pushing for this tier 2.
Yeah, and I was about to say that Rain pretty much preempted the Baron that was inevitably going to go towards Abyss Academy. As Renekton just gets a turret.
He gets another turret. Abyss Academy might use this opportunity, and the Syndra now down in this bottom lane. Willaris is there. You should know that Swaith is also there. Scatter the Weak misses. Banshee's Veil still available. An Elastic Slingshot is now not available for another 5-6 seconds. There it is. We're back.
Yeah, but it's so obnoxious trying to dive Willaris because he's got Banshees.
He's got Banshee's Veil. He's still spell immune. Let's bounce. Brings 2 of them back. The Shockwave. How many does it hit? Hasn't been used just yet. As the turret goes down, Scam Diggity almost dies. Shockwave still available. 2 members on the side.
And
Big
Scam's alive.
But the Ren not there. Command Protect. Bring him on back. Everyone's alive. It's Scam Diggity on low health, but Flick rotates back, and it will just be the turret. This is tense.
So you gotta say that if anybody was to give for their defense of the turret, it was Scam, but it's not over. The siege continues.
They're gonna go on to Swaith, what it looks like the slice and dice. Paprise there, Bear Trap on a rope. Abyss Academy gotta be careful. Slingshot away. They will just lose the turret again. There's not much they can do. Channel Crystal Arrow, it hits the Kled. Are they happy with that? Tongue Lashes there. Flick to walk away. Does not take the Bear Trap on a rope again. And Outlaws, they force them back, but they still lose an objective, which means the goal now is an abysmal 1,000.
But if you consider the Baron as a catch-up mechanic for Abyss Academy to try and get to the same gold parity as Outlaws, did they complete that quest? Unfortunately, no. Outlaws preempted it by taking the turrets, managed to get one as well with Flick splitting off onto the top side. And Abyss Academy, unfortunately, do not close the gold gap, even though they got 1,500 from the Baron, so it still is a favor to Outlaws. But when you're talking about gold disparity, nearly half an hour into the game, the fact that there's only about a 1k difference between the 2 teams, that doesn't even account for a longsword or an amplifying tome, so they're still pretty much in arm's reach of each other.
Abyss Academy picking some really nice engages, but Outlaws getting caught out, I guess you could say, was some kind of case, and KO with the rest of the Baron buff will get that top lane turret. Outlaws are mid. They're trying to force something, but Baron is still available. And there's so much wave clear onto Frey. Willaris can't do anything. He backs away. He's almost at 4 items. A Shockwave could be the difference between life and death for Abyss Academy. We're getting to that stage of the game where one big team fight is going to look even worse for the loser.
Not only that, but Rain is also the other important component. His charge!
Charge onto Scam Diggity. He's knocked up first. Great little knock up and a stun as well. Scatter the Weak. Outlaws are running. Tucked between a hard place. Rain still lives, but the flash from Swaith. He picks up the 80 carry. That's the DPS. Willaris kiting on back. Swaith has brought him in. Scam Diggity now dead. That's 2 for 1 so far. KO is dead. So who does the DPS? It is Frey. He gets Scatter the Weak. It also gets Willaris. He runs away. He flashes. Shockwave is not available, and it is going to be K-Pop going not top, but down. Abyss Academy, it's 3 for 1.
And it's very unfortunate, but how the fight ended was really how it started. Unfortunately, K-Pop was not doing his job, was not near Rain, did not defend him. Rain managed to get out with his flash. Extremely placey for an Ashe with no dash, but K-Pop just wasn't there to save him, and he just falls down. So no DPS from Outlaws, they lose a whole lot more.
Willaris will have Shockwave back and available, but this inhibitor is going down whichever way you like it. And Abyss Academy turned the goal.
No, they go forward.
He comes on through. That's going to be Swaith, but who does he use the Shockwave on? You got to wait and find out. It's going to be onto Swaith. Bloblets out, and they're in the base. So Outlaws, they pick up a kill. Swaith too ambitious.
Yeah, not too sure why he was going in at the very end. It could have been an incredibly amazing play for Abyss on the backside of that one. I mean, Dragon's up, Baron's coming up in 2 minutes. You definitely don't want to die as a Zac, but he gets his blobs out, and he just dies. So this is the last team fight that we were really watching for. The charge comes in. Keep your eyes on Rain, and specifically how everybody is wailing down on him. K-pop already uses Devour on some other member of his team. Unfortunately, I didn't see, but yeah, Rain flashes away to get across from that situation. Sway still had his elastic slingshot, so even after the flash, he managed to take down the DPS, and it's all downhill from here because there's not too much damage coming out from Outlaws, and it's just a very slow fight that Abyss took.
This Academy have just brought this back from a 5k gold disparity. You can see the scaling of their comp coming into action as while we went on a replay, Outlaws picked up a Cloud Drake. They've lost their middle inhibitor. They have to keep someone there. The next one is going to be an Infernal, I believe. This game has actually, it's really, there's no surprise. We knew that Abyss Academy taking on Outlaws was going to be good, but we didn't think this good. Abyss Academy, they're still not ahead. Outlaws are pretty much neck and neck with about 500 gold in loose change. Swaith has been caught out a lot of times, but Abyss Academy continue to win these fights. So it's a question of how Outlaws play these team fights or whether they should be 5v5ing at all.
Well, they need to be playing it smart, first and foremost. And like I mentioned, the criticism that I had is still K-pop. I believe that was an anomaly of a fight. So let's just see if he can redeem himself coming up. Speaking of coming up, this is a good time to set up what they have at the current moment, because Baron's coming up in 30 seconds. It means that we've got to check in with all of the summoners and ultimates available. Paprise has his teleport, Flick does not. When Baron comes up, that could be a huge issue if Renekton's not in the area.
No flash on KO. No flash on Kuden. No flash on Swaith. No flash on Paprise. Frey, the only one with that summoner. So many burnt across the line. Rain, Willaris, Flick. K-pop, remember, he has that action, that call to action to survive. This Academy could be caught out if Scam looks to engage, but he just lets them pass. Second Baron, a possibility for Abyss Academy as they do jump on it 33 minutes in.
Don't worry though, Outlaws, they want to fight this. They know for certain now.
They have a double smite with Rend. Abyss Academy pick the smart option, they back away. They do not want to force as easily as this. They let it reset.
Take a look at Rain's build though. He has a QSS. He's definitely going to need it in this next fight. That should ensure now.
All right, let's have a look at the Baron's health. Abyss Academy still punching away at it. Preyseeker will land, but he doesn't take it. It's at 8,000. They're still hitting it nice and slow. Willaris with the zone control. Quickness was used. Kuden used the ultimate. They saw this happen as well. Preyseeker again. Enchantress Lara misses. Another ultimate that's going to miss. Paprise misses Bear Trap on a row. Quickness there again. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was something else.
It was his coin.
Okay,
no, it was
Bear Trap on a rope. Shockwave lands. It's going to go onto Frey. It has been taken away by Outlaws. Scam Diggity stole the Baron. That's going to be huge. They're now taking this fight. Flick picks one. The second one going to go down. The third one with TP and big death timers. They have killed almost Frey. They're chasing Kuden, and now Outlaws find their advantage.
You are kidding me! There is no realistic way that Abyss should have lost that. They had the smite available, they had the rend available, but then Kuden goes all the way into the middle of Outlaws. He leaves KO for the Wolves, and there is no peel coming out for this Kalista who can't dive. She died without using a face call.
20 seconds, Kuden finds the engagement. Does he really want to? Frey has been exhausted, stunned up, and shut down. Outlaws may have just taken this game. One turret goes down, but members are respawning. It's KO. He's been caught in the deep. Kuden trying to make sure this game does not end right here, but Outlaws will take down Abyss Academy and are our unexpected front runners for OCS Split 2.
And it wasn't always the Outlaws game. For the longest time in the mid-game, Abyss Academy actually had a very significant lead, but then Outlaws, that last Baron fight, they knew what they were doing. They were very strong in their conviction, and they just took it out with the steal as well.
Okay, how did Outlaws win that? How the hell did Outlaws win that? The team that were coming in as a favorite second, but not a favorite first.
Both of these teams have amazing decision-making. Yep. That's the first thing I want to take into account. It looked like it was going to be a slow chokeout from Outlaws at that start of the game, but as soon as they realized that Rain was going to be actually running down that mid lane, Abyss Academy strike on that, regain the advantage, or actually manage to bring it back a fair bit. Then they have a great team fight as well, which gets them the inhibitor. So it seems like everything is going well for Abyss, but the thing is, that was an extended Baron that they were going for. Yes, they may have had the Rend. Yes, they had all the abilities in place there, but the thing is that you take a lot of damage from that Baron, and he shreds away at your resistances as time goes on. When they choose to pull the trigger on Outlaws, they manage to get that Baron. They manage to take the fight, and from that point on, they just roll with it straight away. No hesitation. Straight to that bot lane. You immediate teleport coming through. And Abyss Academy had no response afterwards. Outlaws take a great game.
And it feels like Outlaws just made the better decisions in the end. I mean, that team fight around Baron, how Abyss continually forced onto that Baron. I would like to have another look at that one eventually, but Abyss Academy just missing the Baron altogether, and Scam getting the steal pretty much ended the game.
Yeah, it did. And that was really the start of the end, because all of them were taking, like Mendrick said, a whole lot of MR shred from the Baron. All of a sudden, the shockwave comes through onto their side.
Yep.
Not a lot of MR. You know what that results in? It results in a very good replay and a highlight reel for Willaris, because it pretty much was the start of the end. And when you take a look over at the mid lane matchups, yeah, we were saying Frey, Willaris, these two are the people to watch. But Frey on the Syndra, how's he ever going to execute? He has two deals that he does. First of all, he long range stuns you. Second of all, he bursts you with his ultimate, both of which are denied either by the QSS that Rain bought, or by the Time Kench just eating you as the ultimate
Or the
flies
Banshee's
towards
Veil
you.
from Willaris.
Exactly.
End of the day, that means Outlaws are now 4-0 on the ladder. Of course, Abyss Academy will still be second with 3-1, but this just puts so many questions into account of who is going to go into that promotion tournament. At the moment, I'm definitely thinking Outlaws.
And looking at both of them there, that was high-level League of Legends.
Yeah.
These guys were very calculated. I mean, the first time real action started in that match was at 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Straight away, when Outlaws were able to take it, basically was off the botch tower dive. They thought they had the ability to do it. Tom Kench absolutely shut it down
the pick by
immediately.
K-pop was, yeah.
It was just well done there, and with all that extra pressure, Outlaws strike. And that's what looked like the start of a slow chokeout, but again, Abyss Academy are able to bring that back, and that just shows that both these teams know how to play from up behind, also know how to play when they're ahead as well.
And Outlaws taking out that game means they're at the top, like I said, but it is going to end the game on a very tense moment. Thank you so much to Nathan Mendrix-Mendez and Jimmy Preacher-Fu and all of our production here live at Showdown Studios. We are going to be back with you next week for week number 5, but make sure you tune into OPL, which is starting back up again in Riot Studios tomorrow, live at 3 p.m. I will see you next week. They will see you next week. It's been a pleasure, and thank you so much for watching.